Don't do it. Damn. Obviously, the colonists were like, hey, my dudes, this new tax legislation right here, this is BS. Until now, they had enjoyed relative freedom to rule themselves, and now suddenly Britain was asserting its control. They were especially unhappy because they didn't have any representatives in the parliament that was levying taxes on them. So they protested. Orators gave fiery speeches. British goods were boycotted, and anyone loyal to the British found themselves increasingly harassed. The whole thing actually began to take quite a toll on British business, and after just a couple years, the British were forced to repeal the Stamp Act. But we're still desperate making money. What should we do? We could try taxing the colonies. Great idea. Wait, didn't we literally just try that and it failed miserably? Man, look at me. I look fabulous. Have you ever seen such a handsome boy? No siree, Georgie. No way. You're the handsomest, smartest, most popular king in the world, and everybody likes you. Such a bitch. Your Majesty? Oh, you're still here. Get the hell out. So in 1766, the British made a declaration saying, we can do what we want because we're in charge and you can all go suck it. Then they levied a whole bunch of new taxes on the Americans via import duties. Glass? There's a tax for that. Lead? There's a tax for that. Paper? Tea? Oil? There's a tax for that. And once again, the Americans boycotted British goods, British business felt the pinch, and the British had to back down. Alright, this is ridiculous. They're my colonies, and I have to be able to assert my control. We're doing all the new taxes except for the one in tea. Also send 1,000 troops to Boston to take control. Oh, and make the colonists pay for them. As British troops arrived, the tension in Boston was palpable. You could cut it with a knife, and it was all about to come to a head. On March 5th, a band of local patriots began heckling the British Guard at the customs house. More and more Americans joined in the heckling, while more British troops turned out and supported their comrades. Snowballs were thrown at the British. The snowballs turned to rocks, the rocks to oyster shells. The soldiers, outnumbered, panicked. One thing leads to another, and you can see where this is going. 5 civilians were killed. The Patriot Press declared the Boston Massacre as a war crime committed against the city of Boston by the cruel British, and the army continued to grow. A British rebel by underground in Rhode Island was burned by the British. When the Queen was the governor of Massachusetts supported the suppression of the colonists, his house was burned by the locals. And next, the colonists would set their sights on the remaining tax on December 16, 1773, a band of patriots known as the Sons of Liberty disguised themselves as Native Americans marched down to Boston Harbor, boarded a British merchant ship loaded with tea, and in front of thousands of spectators, the British were dismissed and they pierced Massachusetts with a bullet. They dissolved its General Assembly, revoked their charter, and sent 3,000 more troops to occupy the city, meaning Boston and Massachusetts were now essentially under the direction of Great Britain. And oh boy, were the people pissed. The other colonies saw what was happening and they were doing next. So they called a great council to decide what to do. 56 delegates from 12 colonies gathered and met in Philadelphia at the first Continental Congress. And the roll call read like a who's who of America's finest country. I'm talking lawyers extraordinaire Johnny A. and Johnny J. Experienced military commander George Washington. Businessman and alcoholic beverage Samuel Adams. Fiery orator Patty H. Guy who married a rich lady, Big J. Dickinson. And while they weren't present at the first Congress, sea names like James Madison, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and much later Alexander Hamilton would also find in the Continental Congress. The question now, though, was what to do about the British. After much bitter debate and disagreement, they eventually agreed on an amendment solution. They would simply ask the British to stop. Can you stop? No. Didn't work. Okay, then tell the local militias to start arming and be ready at a minute's notice. And across the colonies, these Minutemen stood ready for the beginning of the American Revolutionary War. Now, having your colonies opening values is one thing. Once they start arming themselves, that's when it really hits the fan. So British General Thomas Gage ordered 70 troops from Boston out into the rebel-controlled Massachusetts countryside to destroy stores of arms and ammunition held by the rebels in Concord. The British set out in the middle of the night. Patriots, including Paul Revere, rode ahead to warn that the British would come, giving the rebels time to prepare.
I'm Captain Obvious, and Hotels.com rewards me basically everywhere. So why am I saying the pub bongo is at this destination wedding? Because Hotels.com lets me do me. Where are my dogs at? Oh, you're there. Hotels.com gives you and get rewarded.
Here, the two sides of the election as the sea began to rise. They faced up against each other, and in the confusion, somebody shot first. The shot around the world marked the beginning of the American War of Independence. The rebels were outnumbered and had to turn to Concord as the British stood up to search for rebel supplies. However, more and more patriot rebels kept showing up, and this time it was the British who were outnumbered. More fighting kicked off in Concord. The most professional army was forced to flee back to Boston at the hands of local militiamen, and all along the British front of Boston, patriot rebels continued to open fire on the retreating British. When the British reached Boston, the rebel militias surrounded them. Boston and the British were now under siege as small naval skirmishes continued around the city. The British would suffer another another embarrassing blow, this time in upstate New York. Colonel Benedict Arnold concocted a plan to take the British stronghold Fort Ticonderoga and have a large amount of guns and ammunition, set off towards the alone, looking to recruit men along the way, when he came across the Green Mountain Boys led by Ethan Allen, who as it turned out had the exact same plan. So they decided to work together, but I'm in charge. No, 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 I'm in charge. This went on for some time, until the Green Mountain Boys threatened to go home, and Arnold had to concede. They raided the fort at night while the Redcoats were asleep, and they caught them completely by surprise, taking the fort and all of its munitions with almost no resistance. Wow, good job. Very impressive. By the way, what happened to that other guy we sent to take the fort? Who? Benedict Arnold. Never heard of him. Ouch. What the fuck? Nobody knew what was going on. The colonies were in open rebellion, and for now, they even seemed to be winning. So King George fired General Gage, replaced him with General William Howe, and ordered the rebellion to be put down immediately. Okay, the British are definitely going to retaliate for all this, so we should probably put together a proper army. First, we need to pick a commander-in-chief, and I think we can all agree that that job should go to the man, the myth, the legend, George Washington. My friends, I am humbled and honored that you would consider me for such an important role. I did it. Alright, you've been showing up for the last 10 months. We all know you wanted to So Washington began his command of the newly established Continental Army, just as the British made their first major attempt to break the siege. They made plans to take the high ground on Bunker Hill, but spies warned against the British plans, so reported by Bunker Hill they set up defensive positions on nearby Greensville. The day of the battle, and as the British advanced, a barrage of Continental gunfire was opened up on them. Twice they tried to push it, and twice they were pushed back. The battle lasted 3 hours until the Continentals finally ran out of ammunition and had to retreat, allowing the British to take the field. They suffered nearly 1,000 casualties and 400. The colonists showed the British that this wasn't just a rebellion, it was a war, and they were ready. But one thing they weren't sure about was why they were fighting. Well, some radicals were starting to throw around the I word. Most hoped to eventually repair their relationship with Great Britain. So they sent a letter to King George saying, "Hey man, looks like things aren't going your way. Remove the taxes and let's be friends." I'm gonna kick your ass. Send that to the colonies. Your Majesty, your handwriting is terrible. Are you sure? Just do it. What does it say? He's gonna lick my... Gross. So for the remainder of the year, small engagements continued to occur around the colonies. The British burned down the towns of Falmouth, Massachusetts, and Norfolk, Virginia, as revenge for earlier anti-British incidents. These actions played right into the hands of Patriot propaganda. Overseas, the British were seen as brutes, and the French and Spanish would soon begin sending supplies to the rebel cause. During this time, there was also minor fighting going on between Patriot and Loyalist militias in the southern colonies. Benedict Arnold was still on a mission to bring some personal glory for himself, so he headed up an attempt to invade Canada in a two-pronged attack. The Continentals managed to capture some British forces in the city of Montreal, but a harsh snowstorm with some small hawks on the side saw them defeated and pushed back at Quebec City, and they were forced to retreat back to on the road. Speaking of which, remember all those guns and ammunition? Well, this guy's got what to do. He uses oxen to throw 1,000 pounds of artillery for 2 months with a harsh wind of 300 miles all the way to Washington's continental army surrounding Boston. Washington's got himself some big guns, which is fortunate because up until now his army had been suffering through the cold winter, not knowing when the siege would end. Now they could make a move. Washington wanted to launch a full assault on the city. Junior officers felt the British were too mortified. To his credit, Washington was grateful to hero and put on board and made his and others. Instead, Washington worked to the night, setting the guns up on Dorchester Heights, overlooking the city, and when dawn came and the British saw the guns, they knew they had changed. Their positions were completely exposed. It was checkmate. They had no choice but to abandon the city. 126 died, 1,000 Redcoats, and 2,000 Loyalists away to an unknown fate, and Washington had his first victory of the war. Washington then moved his army to New York, knowing that when the British returned, they would probably land there. In the meantime, a friendly-looking old man by the name of Thomas Paine had written and published a pamphlet, Common Sense, in which he advocated for total independence from Great Britain. It spread across the colonies like wildfire, and to this day remains the best-selling title in America. It was read aloud in taverns and meeting halls, and brought the idea of independence into the mainstream. Congress began to seriously consider it. Thomas Jefferson was selected to write up an official Declaration of Independence, and he went hard, writing that all men are created equal, with certain inalienable rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Of course, Jefferson had all that in slaves, but they didn't have time. On the 2nd of July, Congress voted for the Declaration of Independence, and John Adams declared that the 2nd of July would go down as the most remembered day in American history. Then a couple days later, independence actually came into effect. The United States of America was born. There was no turning back now. The Americans tore down a statue of King George in New York and melted him down into 42,000 musket balls. The British, it was treason. Guess who's back? The king sent an intimidating force of 130 warships and 25,000 men from New York. Washington knew that taking on the most powerful military in the world wouldn't be easy. The British set up camp on Staten Island as the Americans dug into defensive positions around Brooklyn Heights, waiting for an attack to come. But the British just waited, wearing down their opponent's nose while building their own strength. At one point, they launched a big scary artillery barrage and then said, "That's probably suit for peace." But Washington told them to shove it. The Americans kept holding out for what was coming, and when they finally saw, they hit hard. 15,000 British troops approached the American position, and the two sides fired on each other in massive rows. But what the Americans did was they were only fighting a decoy. The main British force was going around to flank the Americans from behind, and when they arrived, they were taking heavy casualties. The Americans panicked and retreated back to Brooklyn Heights, where they then found themselves trapped between the British Army and the river. It looked as though the war was already lost, but luckily, instead of attacking, the British decided to dig into the city, and the fog settled, allowing Washington's army to escape across the river unimpeded. The British continued to chase and engage the Americans at Manhattan, and the Americans suffered defeat after defeat after defeat. It was a disaster. Washington's leadership was called into question, as thousands of American POWs were left to rot as traitors. Washington's army fled through New Jersey, all the way down to Pennsylvania. And an army that was badly
Damn it, dude. Oh.
This video was made possible by Brilliant, math and science done right. Keep watching until the end of the video to learn how you can get 20% off the annual premium subscription. Washington's butt was sufficiently kicked. Winter was here. His troops' morale was low, some just up and left. Washington needed to do something, anything to restore faith in the revolution. The British had spread throughout New Jersey and settled in for a winter of drinking cider and partying hard. Nobody expected an attack in the winter, so Washington started making plans for an attack in the winter. The British had hired a large force of Hessian mercenaries from the German states of Hesse-Kassel and Hesse-Hanau to fight the rebels. It was these mercenaries that were stationed across the Delaware River from Washington and his army. And there were more Hessian reinforcements incoming, but they made an unscheduled stop because their commander got thirsty. No, not that kind of thirsty. That kind of thirsty. It was Christmas Eve with a blizzard outside when Washington heard the Hessian defenses were down, and he decided to attack. He made a perilous crossing of the icy Delaware River with 2,400 men and marched 9 miles to Trenton, where he caught the Hessian forces completely off guard. After a short but fierce battle, the Hessians surrendered in droves. It was a much-needed victory that sent a clear message not only to the British, but to Americans across the colonies. The war was far from lost. General Cornwallis led the British forces south to counterattack the Americans, but in a series of battles, Washington's defensive positioning and flanking maneuvers defeated the British 3 times in 10 days, and the British decided to abandon southern New Jersey for the rest of the winter. Washington finally set up a winter camp in Morristown, but for the Americans, there was much less partying than the British. Elsewhere, the British had taken Newport Island because it was a good naval base. In the south, they failed to take Charleston, South Carolina, which left British loyalists unsupported and vulnerable to harassment and even mass expulsion. Congress sent Benjamin Franklin to France on a mission to convince them to join the war, and while the French generally left any opportunity to the Brits, they didn't want to join unless it was a sure win. So for now, Franklin spent his days chilling out and chasing tail. The British Parliament couldn't believe the war wasn't over yet, and the pressure was on to end it. So the British came up with a plan. General Burgoyne in Montreal and General William Howe in New York would advance through the Hudson Valley in the middle, splitting the colonies in two, and thus screwing over the American communication lines. Burgoyne began his movement south, and after taking Fort Ticonderoga quite easily, he then came across heavy American resistance, so he sent Howard Dingle-Dongle asking if he'd be showing up anytime soon. Meanwhile, Howard completely abandoned the plan and gone for all out personal glory by capturing the American capital, Philadelphia. He defeated Washington and his army at Brandywine Creek by using the old hit him with a decoy and flank him from behind tactic, and Philadelphia was now in British hands, forcing Congress to escape New York. But Burgoyne was left on his own to face the ever-increasing American force in Saratoga. American General Horatio Gates teamed up with our old friend Benedict Arnold to deal one final blow to Burgoyne's army. Arnold wanted to take the fight to the British, but Gates wanted to wait for the British to come to them. After a heated debate, Gates, the senior officer, pulled Arnold to go to his room, but Arnold defied his orders, and at the Battle of Phoenix Heights, charged the British and obliterated them. Great job, Horatio. By the way, what happened to that other guy who was in Saratoga? Who? Benedict Arnold. Never heard of him. Oh. Hey, George, didn't I do a great job? Taking Philadelphia and all? Didn't I? You're fired. Both Burgoyne and Howe returned to Great Britain, leaving British General Henry Clinton to take charge of the war. And the war was about to take a nasty turn, because with the victory at Saratoga, the French were finally ready to join the Americans. Alright then, we're in. Hey, isn't this kind of funny, you know, because you're a republic trying to overthrow an absolute monarchy, and I'm an absolute monarchy helping you? Like, could you imagine if your revolution inspired my people to revolt against me, and then they imprisoned me and all my family, and they chopped all of our heads off? Could you imagine? That's for foreshadowing. For now in America, winter was here once again, which meant that more disease, more starvation, and even a little mutiny. After losing Philadelphia, Washington's job was again on the line. But suddenly, a Prussian guy with a very fancy name, hired by Benjamin Franklin, showed up out of nowhere and said, "Hey, I'm here to give your men a European military training." And train them he did. They learned how to shoot accurately, how to march in formation, where to creep and where not to, and strict punishments were handed out to any who didn't comply. Washington's army came out of the winter in 1778 a new and improved force, ready to take Philadelphia back from the British. In the end, though, they didn't have to. With the French entry into the war, the British ordered General Clinton to evacuate Philadelphia and consolidate all of the British forces in New York. So Washington sent Benedict Arnold to reoccupy the city as he pursued the British through New Jersey on land, eventually finding a good opportunity to attack at Monmouth Courthouse. The battle took place on a sweltering hot summer's day, and as many soldiers died from a heat stroke as they did from battle. In the end, after some incompetence/borderline treason from Washington's second in command, it was a draw. And in this war, a draw is kind of a victory for the Americans. Next up, let's talk about this guy. This is John Paul Jones. John Paul Jones is handsome, Scottish, and absolutely insane. When the war first broke out, everyone was like, how did the colonies expect to stand up to the might of the British Navy with their meager fleet of converted merchantmen? Yeah, try telling that to John Paul Jones. This guy sailed to the British Isles, somehow captured a British ship off the coast of Ireland, and brought it back to France. Then he returned, attacking more ships, raiding towns, and evading capture the entire time. These are basically pirate tactics. But hey, if it works, it works. In one incident, he captured a British ship and returned to a Dutch port without an official ensign because his was lost during the battle. That's a big no-no and can have you arrested as a pirate. The Dutch helped him out by quickly creating a design based on Benjamin Franklin's description of what the American flag should look like, and they entered it into their records as an official U.S. flag. After the conflict, which didn't do it, the whole campaign probably played heavily on British morale and brought the question of ability to win the war. And fun fact, it was so good that one of the towns he raided in 1778 gave him an official honorary pardon in 1999. He's been in heaven, John Paul Jones. You're an angel. What the Continental Navy was lacking in resources, though, the French entry into the war made up for. The French began with naval skirmishes in the English Channel, and they sent a large fleet to America, although it sustained a lot of damage in a storm off Rhode Island. The Americans were hoping for a bigger victory than the French, so John Adams went to France to help Benjamin Franklin continue negotiations. Oh good, you're finally here. Check this out. I'd like to fly you like a cat, because you're electrifying. Isn't this great? Is this what? Yeah, why? We should secure military support from France, not the full end of the resistance. Wait, no, ladies, come back. Worst wingman ever. But the Americans would get some more help. The Dutch provided aid, although they never formed an official alliance. More significantly, though, the Spanish, who had already been providing aid, officially joined the war in June 1779. They would provide support in the Midwest and the Gulf Coast, campaigns that heavily impacted the Native American tribes. Both sides actually enlisted the help of Native American tribes throughout the war, sometimes even pitting those tribes against each other. In the summer of 1779, after a series of raids against the Americans by the Iroquois, Washington organized an expedition that burned down more than 40 villages, forcing the tribes to relocate to Canada for British protection. And another group that everyone mentioned were African Americans, both free and enslaved. They joined both sides of the war, hoping to gain their freedom. But afterwards, many were simply returned to slavery, particularly those who were part of the Americans. Despite owning slaves himself, Jefferson had written a condemnation of slavery in the Declaration of Independence, but out of fear of offending the southern colonies, this was removed from the final draft. For the same reason, the American army stopped enlistment in American men in 1775, a policy that Washington, a slave owner himself, but they were forced to reverse the policy after the British executed any slaves to join them. In general, you stood a better chance of gaining freedom if you fought for the British. However, even those that left with the British after the war, and discrimination in their new lives outside of America. Our good friend Benedict Arnold is now in charge of Philadelphia, having a good time, partying down with, and even marrying a member of the Philadelphia elite, the same elite that had partied down with the British when they controlled the city. And suddenly, the people of Philadelphia, including the state governor, started accusing Arnold of having pro-British sentiments. Washington wrote a letter rebuking Arnold, calling his conduct imprudent and improper, and that was too many absent for Benedict Arnold to handle. He asked Washington to put him in charge of the fort, then he contacted the British, offering to hand the plans of the fort over to them, join their side. Our good friend Benedict Arnold, good friend, no more. Luckily, the treasonous plans were discovered on a captured British officer, but Arnold managed to escape before he was arrested. As a British brigadier general, he would go on to lead raids against American cities, most notably his raid of Richmond, Virginia in 1781. His betrayal shook George Washington, who had once again set up camp at Morristown. His leadership somehow held the Continental Army together for the harshest winter of the war. We're entering 1780, and Parliament was hopping mad that the war still wasn't over. The British debt was soaring, and despite being parts of Massachusetts in late 1779, the war was in a stalemate, so the British decided to make a major shift in strategy to the south, and even on the British area with a higher level of support for the British, or so the British thought. A year earlier, they had captured the underdependent city of Savannah, Georgia, easily, and a joint American siege failed. Now, they laid siege to Charleston, South Carolina. It fell within months, with thousands of American troops surrendering to the British, a costly defeat. The British quickly moved to take control, and they sent stereotypical Hollywood villain with a British accent back to Richard Carlton into the backcountry, where he hunted down rebels and destroyed them with ruthless brutality. The British presence also inspired local loyalist militias in the backcountry to rise up against their persecutors. The British really seemed to have a new strategy, and the ball was very much in Washington's court. I'm going to send my most loyal general, Nathaniel Greene, to the south to stop the British. Gonna have to overrule you there, George. They send the hero of Saratoga and your biggest rival, Horatio Gates. Watch this, George. I'm going to save the day again. Everybody will love me, and I'm going to get your job. You're right, guy. And Wallace got annihilated and ran away. Alright, let's go with your guy. Nathaniel Greene knew the British had their own forces, and wouldn't be defeated with conventional tactics. So he had to think outside the box. He split his army into two. Look at me. Different directions. Cornwallis and Carlton after Morgan, and he caught up with him in the cavalry. He led Cornwallis in a wild chase through North Carolina. His bigger and better equipped army much heavier and slower than Greene's quick and mobile troops. Greene led Cornwallis further and further from his supply line, then crossed the river to Virginia, picked up and turned back to face the now exhausted British. At the Battle of Field before the two sides engaged in vicious close combat. Cornwallis, nearly lost, fired his big guns and cutting down many of his own men. Greene retreated, Cornwallis to victory, but Cornwallis lost a quarter of his men in the fight, so it felt much more like a British defeat. At this point, both sides desperately needed something to happen soon. The British were running out of money, while the Americans were again facing mutiny as the men went without pay or even basic living needs. Fortunately, the French were now showing up in greater numbers and were ready to fight. After his encounter with Britain, Cornwallis decided the only way to win the South was to first prevent the Southern Continental Army from using Virginia as a supply base. So he abandoned the Carolinas, moving to Wilmington, a position the British believed would be easy to supply and support, and was much used to many farms, stealing horses and supplies from the locals, but also freeing thousands of slaves, many of whom joined him. The French saw Cornwallis' new position as an opportunity to land a decisive blow on the British. Washington wanted to attack Clinton in New York, but the French said it was a really dumb idea. And to be fair, it was. Instead, Washington sent out fake dispatches to make it look like they would attack Clinton, but secretly their combined force marched all the way down to Virginia. A large French fleet under the command of Comte de Grasse successfully cleared the British Navy out of the Chesapeake Bay. The combined land and naval forces then laid siege to Cornwallis' army in Yorktown. The American and French forces tightened in around the city, raining artillery down on Cornwallis. The rest of the Navy appealed to Clinton for aid, but Clinton was unusually chilled out about the whole thing. Cornwallis held out for nearly a month before he had no choice but to surrender. Over 7,000 British troops were captured, crushing defeat. And with that, Parliament had reached the end of the road. The war just wasn't worth it, and it needed to end now. The British still held New York, Charleston, and Savannah. The fighting between the two sides mostly ceased as peaceful negotiations were stopped. Great Britain removed its troops from American soil, recognized U.S. independence, and ceded territory up to the Mississippi River. In return, the Americans agreed to pay any debts to the Britain and give fair treatment to any colonists who remained loyal to the crown. The Spanish got Florida, while the French got an economic crisis that led to his own revolution a decade later. Washington retired to his home in Mount Vernon, wishing his men farewell by saying, "I most devoutly wish that your latter days may be as prosperous and happy as your former ones have been glorious and honorable." He hoped to live out the rest of his days in peace, but unfortunately for him, a number of people wanted him to be the first leader of the new country, and by a number of people, I mean literally everyone. The first election campaign in American history was basically a grassroots effort to convince Washington to accept the office. He was sworn in on April 30th, 1789, and he himself established many of the standards and limitations of what the American leader should be. First of all, there was debate on what he should be called. Is he a king? Is he our glorious leader? In the end, they went for a word that at the time was pretty modest. President, like the president of your local bowling club or office bake sale committee. He set up a cabinet of expert advisors, knowing that no president could know everything, no matter how much of a stable genius they claimed to be. He proposed major legislation to Congress and gave an annual State of the Union address to keep his own power in check. He stated that the U.S. should remain neutral in foreign conflicts, and in the end, he voluntarily gave up his power after just 2 terms. He could have made the presidency anything he wanted, but his careful and cautious actions helped set the precedent of an office that is powerful in its limitations, decisive through its diplomacy, and respected in its humility. And so the United States was born, and everything was perfect. It had no problems, not a single one. Certainly nothing that would, I don't know, cause such an extreme divide that it would lead to a civil war. Anyways. quiz. Name the most American thing you can think of. Baseball, Old Eagles, claim the winner of an America-only sports tournament, world champions, or maybe math and science. Math and science? That's right. You know, science is as American as well. And don't just take my word for it. Thomas Jefferson. Of course, to do that you would need a time machine, and that would take some math, and a lot of science. If you want to really understand math, say you want to calculate the age of the universe, take a crack at special relativity, or just train your critical thinking skills. Check out Brilliant. Brilliant guides you through a whole host of fascinating topics by breaking them down and getting you to actively solve problems in an experience that is interactive, addictive, and so easy to understand. This intuitive approach makes it perfect for students, professionals, and teachers all over the world. To support Oversimplify and learn more about Brilliant, go to brilliant.org/oversimplify and sign up for free. And the first 200 people to use our link, which can also be found in the description below, will get 20% off your subscription. So check it out now.